Hey guys, and welcome to my new movie review for the movie that came out this year, 2020, Superintelligence. Superintelligence is rated PG. The duration of Superintelligence is 1 hour and 46 minutes long, and it is a comedy, romance, sci-fi movie. And the director of Superintelligence is Ben Falcon, with a cast of Melissa McCarthy, who plays the character of Carol, James Corden, who voices the superintelligence computer, Bobby Cannavale, who plays the character of George, and a slew of other incredibly hilarious characters, and I'll try and let you know them as I go on with this movie review, guys. But first of all, guys, I'm just going to give you the synopsis, and then I'll give you my thoughts on superintelligence. When an all-powerful superintelligence chooses to study an average Carol Peters, the fate of the world hangs in the balance. As an AI dedicates its enslaves, saves, or destroys humanity, it's up to Carol to prove that people are worthy of saving. So the opening of this movie, guys, I actually thought in a really big way. It actually reminded of the opening sequence, and the audio of the movie reminded me of Men in Black, like in a really big way. I was like, wow, I feel like I'm watching the opening to Men in Black, obviously not visually, just audibly, and I thought that was a really clever way to open this film. One of the things about movies, guys, that I personally find that has to happen in film, in my personal opinion, and for those who have been following me for any period of time, you know what I'm about to say here, is character chemistry. Because if we don't buy the character chemistry, yes, obviously the storyline has to work, because if the storyline isn't great, then the character chemistry is not going to do anything for the storyline. And so as it unfolds in front of us, we know as an audience member what we want to be invested in. Because if we're not invested in the character chemistry for what we're watching in front of us, it just isn't going to work, and we're just not going to buy it. Like, it is what it is. But in saying that, guys, man alive, George and Carol, I was envious. I was envious. There was legitimately several times in this movie, guys, where I literally thought to myself while watching this movie, oh, man, do I want that. Yep, I really want that. Seriously, guys, their tension was so good, so powerful, so relatable. And one of the things that I found about this movie, guys, taking George's character out of this movie, I kind of felt like, in a really big way, that this was really her movie, like realistically a standalone movie for her, not as in like a combinated role or anything like that, because a lot of the film really did revolve around Melissa McCarthy / Carol's character and her dynamic towards what was happening in front of us as we were seeing this movie. Not in a bad way. I just thought to myself several times watching this film, yeah, this really is a Melissa McCarthy standalone film, even though George is in it, you know, quite significantly, and the agents and stuff like that. But really, it was a movie about her, and not just her and another character, or her partnering up with other characters. And that really worked for me personally, and as an audience member, I really felt the dynamic, and just, she owned it. She owned the screen, she owned the role. In saying that, not every single joke landed. It wasn't terrible in any way, shape, or form. It just wasn't like, I wasn't crying laughter, but most of the jokes did work, and I'm going to tell you a few of them as I go on with this movie review. Speaking of jokes, which was a great segue into my first point of this movie, there's a joke in this movie where he says to her, illegal intelligence. I think Carol says that to James Corden's character, and man alive, well, he's not really a character, he is a character, but he's like the computer. So the computer is the character, if that makes sense. But yeah, illegal intelligence, and man, that made me laugh so hard. That was definitely an LOL moment. So this is a random one, but it happened. There's actually a jump scare in this movie. It isn't a jump scare, but I called it a jump scare because of the way it happens in the movie. That cracked me up so bad because of just how it plotted itself out to what it ended up becoming in the movie. And it really made me laugh because I was like, when you see the movie, and those of you who have seen the movie, the jump scare moment, right? And if you haven't seen the movie yet, when you see the movie, Carol walks up to the guy and just like says hi basically, and he just fully jumps, and that just cracked me up so bad. It was really funny. Another line of this movie, guys, that cracked me up really bad was when Melissa McCarthy's character says has an Oscar but not in her mouth. I don't know why. There's so many lines in this movie, guys, that just really cracked me up. It just, for me, as I said, not every joke landed, but what jokes did land in this movie really, really landed for me, and I found them really, really funny, and that joke was really, really funny. So there's a scene in this movie where Carol gets a Tesla, and she gets into the Tesla. Oh, for those of you who have been following me for any period of time, I don't do spoilers in my movie reviews at all, but this movie isn't really a movie to not spoil. Like, yes, there are jokes and stuff like that in it that you can spoil and stuff, but it's not. It won't spoil it because I'm not in context, if that makes sense. So when you see the movie, it'll make sense when you see it. But yeah, so she gets into the Tesla, and he says, "Don't drive the car," and then she doesn't drive the car. He goes, "Well, don't not drive the car. Just don't pretend like you're driving the car without driving the car." And just the elements of the comical back and forth between James Corden and Melissa McCarthy was really clever. I really sold it, and just the dynamic was really, really funny, especially in that sequence. So as she gets out of the car and goes to her first destination, Melissa McCarthy's character actually says to another character, they're being stupid. Okay, one of the things that I didn't like about this movie, guys, and I have to just pause it for a second and tell you something that I really didn't like about this movie. I don't like it in movies, and I really, really hate it, and I don't think it's funny at all, when somebody is downplaying somebody, as in like they're pretending like that person's an idiot or not smart or anything like that, and they just think they're better. I don't find that humor funny. In fact, I find that humor not funny at all. It really throws me off as an audience member, and it kind of bugs me because it's like, that's not funny. Like you're making that person, you're belittling that person, and belittling anyone to any comical element isn't funny at all. So there was a couple of scenes in this movie, not heaps, but two significantly, that they did that. They role-played that insignificance. Didn't work for me. I wasn't impressed with those sort of elements behind this movie. It kind of bugged me, and it wasn't funny. And as I said, not the whole movie is funny because of those specific moments in the movie, but a lot of it is really funny. And that sequence when she gets out of the car, she's trying not to get out of the car, and they're trying to get her out of the car, and then she gets up, and because the lady's being so disrespectful to her and rude, Melissa McCarthy's character says to her, "Sorry for your loss." I just burst out laughing because she was wearing a black dress, and that reminded me of a funeral scene. Really funny scene. So they're in an interrogation scene in this movie, guys, and fun fact, Ben Falcon, who is the director of this movie, is actually Melissa McCarthy's real-life husband. There you go, who plays Carol. So there you go. There's a really, really cool piece of trivia. So Ben Falcon, who's in this movie, he plays one of the agents in this movie, and he actually says, "I'm actually allergic to guinea pigs," and just the way he said that line cracked me up so bad. I burst out laughing. But later on in the movie, and I'll get to that in a second, he says, I should call my wife, and that cracked me up because I'm like, you're actually watching your wife make out with George in this movie, George in this movie, and that really cracked me up because that's funny because that's your wife. So yeah, that was a really, really clever nod to the fact of, hey, that's my wife making out with some other dude, which is like, awkward. And the made in China joke was so funny. The made in China joke was absolutely hilarious, guys. So the guy stands up, Brian Terry Henry, who plays the character of Dennis. Now, that's Carol's best friend in this movie. He's about to present something to, CIA, really high, heavy quarters people. And as he says, oh, I'm having trouble with my badge. Are you having trouble with your badge? And then he looks at it and he says, oh, it's made in China. And then looks down and this Asian lady looks up to him, burst out laughing. In fact, a lot of other people, I wasn't the only person in the cinema this time, guys, which is a surprise because normally I am in my local cinema. But other people laughed at that really loudly. And that was a really, really funny scene that cracked me up so bad. Again, in the same sequence of the movie, Dennis, Carol's best friend in this movie, he makes a joke about a fine wine to the head lady, and it's really, really funny of how he says it because she's an elder lady, but she's really, really gorgeous, and he's trying to be descriptive of a fine wine and saying how it's dusty on the outside but gorgeous on the inside and stuff like that. And I tell you what, the execution of that line had me hook, line, and sinker. I burst out laughing. I thought that was really funny. And just the way it was just told and the sequence of events that happen in that element of the movie, it's too funny. So this is a beautiful element of the movie, guys, that I thought was really cute. Carol and her boyfriend are about to walk out the door. And she's trying to be courteous and kind to him. And so she goes, oh, you can walk out the door first. And he's like, well, no, I have to lock the door behind me. I don't know why, but man, that made me laugh so hard. It was just a really, really, really clever way of, like, a woman's way of showing chivalry. But she couldn't be because he needed to lock the door. That cracked me up. I thought that was brilliant. So funny. So before I go on, guys, I want to ask you the question that you would like to ask me the question. Just kidding. I ask my audience this in every single movie review that I possibly do because it is really the core question and it's the core thing in movies that needs to be asked. Does Superintelligence have in its core DNA the thing that movie needs to be movie for us as an audience member to go back and rewatch hours, days, months, years later? And that's what I like to call, in my humble personal opinion, guys, rewatchability, guys. Does Superintelligence have rewatchability? And that I say straight off the cuff, you know it does. And the reason why it does is the comical elements, the storyline, and the character chemistry, guys, hits home 1000% in this movie. Not once did I have to look at my watch because I wanted to get over and done with. Not once. Seriously, guys. And not once did I get bored or did I nod off. And man, have I nodded off in so many movies, guys. Seriously. I don't even like to nod off in movies, guys, but some movies just are that boring that I just fall asleep. This movie definitely has rewatchability. Another awesome and really, really clever joke that Carol says to James Corden's character, who in this element is the Tesla car. She says, I hope you get a virus as the car drives away. Burst out laughing because obviously if the car gets a virus, it can't drive. I thought that was absolute comical genius. This movie it's not packed with them, but it's got a lot of those jokes in it and it's really, really clever and it lands every single time. So guys, it is that time in my movie review to give you guys your favorite part of my movie reviews. Just kidding, but I do love giving you guys this because to me, it's trivia time, guys. And for me, if you know me, trivia in a movie review is like icing on a cake, guys. And who doesn't love cake? Man, I love cake. I had to throw the rest of my cake out today because it was sitting in the fridge for so long. I just was like, I'm not going to eat the rest of that. But guys, it's trivia time. So, and there's only little tiny bits of trivia in this movie review. So I'm going to give you all of it, guys. So it's trivia time. This marks the second collaboration between Melissa McCarthy and Bobby Cannavale. They previously starred in Spy 2015. Next piece of trivia is, guys, some of the movie was filmed in the Georgia Tech campus in Atlanta, GA. Next piece of trivia is, guys, released exclusively on Warner Media Streaming HBO Max. There you go, guys. Next piece of trivia is, guys. And guys, this is the final piece of trivia. I really appreciate you sticking around. The first film Ben Falcon has directed as a PG rating. Two previous films, Tammy and The Boss, earned an R18 rating. And Life of the Party was given a PG-13. That's all I have for you today, guys. I appreciate your time. Thank you so much for watching this movie review for Superintelligence. Have you had your chance to watch Superintelligence? If so, leave your comments in the comment section below. I'd love to hear back from you. Seriously, did you like it as much as I did? Did you find the jokes that did land really funny like I did? I appreciate you sticking around. You guys are amazing. Seriously, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for watching this movie review. And if you're new to my channel, an absolutely warm welcome. So good to have you here. And if you're new and you haven't already, go ahead, click that subscribe button, click that like button, and don't forget to click the bell for notifications. That way, when I drop anything, it's yours straight away. Guys, don't forget who's bringing this movie review for Superintelligence 2020. This is Superman Steve, appreciating you guys always, loving your time. Thank you for being here. Flying out!